From Atlanta, game 1 of this National League Division Series. A 5-3 Houston lead getting into the late stages. We're in the top of the 8th. And Adam Everett to lead things off against a new Brave pitcher, the veteran right-hander Chris Reitsma. He works a lot for Bobby Cox. He's been battling leg injuries most of the season. And he misses up and in for ball 1.
Well, and with the addition of Kyle Farnsworth, it's allowed Reitsma to go into that setup role, and Chris Reitsma is going to come at you with a good 90-mile-an-hour, 92, 93-mile-an-hour fastball, but he's got a great changeup. That's his out pitch.
Everett takes a strike. He's 0 for 3 today. Of course, the Astros are getting close to that Lidge bridge, that 1 inning to get to their superb closer, Brad Lidge. It's Wheeler starting to loosen up. Although it's going to be interesting to see if Garner elects to keep Pettit in the game for the 8th inning. Especially, Steve, after a 7-pitch 7th.
Well, that's right. Andy Pettit, 96 pitches right now. But the Atlanta Braves just put it back in Phil Garner's court to say, you know what? You now have to consider sending Pettit back out there. 7 pitches to retire the 3 hitters for the Braves. If you're not going to hit, at least make Pettit work. Get him out of the game so you can take advantage of somebody in the pen.
Well, and not necessarily just for today's game. This is a series. They're going to come back tomorrow night. Maybe you get Wheeler or Qualls in the game an inning earlier. Have them throw some pitches just so maybe you don't have to see him tomorrow night, or Lidge maybe have to throw an inning and a third. The whole thing is not just predicated on what's happening right now.
Little looper over the head of Giles. That's going to drop down for a base hit for Adam Everett. He's on in the 8th.
But it's interesting to see here if he sacrificed bunts, then I think he is going to probably pinch hit, I would assume, to be able to try to drive the run in.
And for the moment, Pettit has come to the on-deck circle. How can you take Pettit out of the game? He's one of their best hitters today. He's dropped down a beautiful sac bunt. He's also doubled and scored. And forget about his 0.81 season average. He's done a very good job of the bat.
You figure he's just run his luck right now. You've already got a base hit and a bunt out of him. Don't go to the well too often.
I mean that tongue-in-cheek, of course. But
oh, I thought you were serious.
Well, he has looked good up there today. You have to give him that. Even you hitters cross for a strike on Ausmus.
Well, I think Pettit's going to stay in. I think he's going to hit. You got a 2-run lead, and I know you have Wheeler out there, but if I have Andy Pettit on top of his game, I want Andy Pettit pitching in that 8th inning instead of Dan Wheeler to get me to Lidge, because you can always bring Lidge in if Pettit gets 1 out or 2 outs and he gets you at least a little further into the game. If I don't have to hand it to the bridge to somebody else, I want to hand it to Brad Lidge coming out there.
The Astros trying to gain a little more wiggle room here, up 5-3 in the 8th in front of 40,590 at Turner Field. That's about 10,000 below capacity. Hit toward the hole softly. Will it squeak through? There's Giles. Great sliding stop. Close. Did not get him. And Ausmus is on with a base hit. Everett down to second. He's 47. How far can he stretch?
He can stretch. I'm telling you, if he stretches, he's out.
Here's Pettit to bunt. Drops it down. Chipper Jones charging. Looked at third. He'll get the shore out. Over to first base, and there are now 2 men in scoring position as Pettit once again drops down a sacrifice bunt for the 2nd time today.
Well, good job by Andy Pettit right there. You know, getting the runners over, helping his own cause, putting them in a position to score more runs. But, you know, going back to that play that Steve was talking about with Franco at first base, I mean, there's no question he didn't stretch at all. And the tendency sometimes as a first baseman is you think, well, the runner's not going to get down there that quickly. I don't need to stretch. He didn't know the speed of the runner. He didn't know that he was sprinting the entire way down. That is clearly a mistake by Julio Franco.
And now the intentional pass of Biggio will load up the bases. And this will be for the 3rd or 4th time today for Houston. In the 3rd inning, they left them loaded. In the 7th inning, they left them loaded. So they've had opportunities to blow it wide open. And now they'll be filled up for the first-year man, Willie Taveras.
You know, and getting back to that Franco play, I mean, that is not uncommon for a first baseman. I know the course of your career, you're going to do things like that. I know I did that a number of different times. You know, it happens.
Hey, take a look at this. Taveras is being pulled back as Biggio takes ball 4, and it's Jeff Bagwell.
He's willing to make it a 2-player move because a big base hit right here can really stretch out the lead. Absolutely the right move. Taveras has struggled driving the ball. We've talked about it all day. He hasn't been able to drive in the runs. Maybe Bagwell can.
Well, and as you said, David, the reason he's on the roster is for this situation. You don't use him in this situation, there's no reason for him to be there. Why did you even put him on the roster?
Well, they missed 115 games after shoulder surgery. He takes a strike on the outside corner.
And he's done a good job of getting some big base hits. But talking to Jeff before the game, he said this is the most difficult thing he's ever had to do, because not only are you coming in where you haven't played and you're not fresh, but you're facing top of the line pitchers in crucial situations. And for somebody that plays every inning of every game, then to have to sit and then just be called upon to go out there and be successful, well, they talk about it being the hardest job in baseball. And Jeff said he agrees with it.
Well, watching Bagwell in batting practice and in selected bats down the stretch, the power isn't there like it used to be. But the base hit is into left field. A clean single to bring in a run to make it 6-3. So Garner finds the perfect spot to use Bagwell. He rips one by Chipper Jones. The owner's delighted, and the Astros are up 3 in the 8th inning.
Well, Foster's been kind of the go-to lefty in the bullpen here. His 63rd appearance on the season, 62 in the regular season. Not a big strikeout guy, command and control, contact pitcher.
And Berkman, for a change, now batting right-handed, is finally going to get something to hit. He's been walked 3 times today. The last time intentionally in the 7th inning.
Well, in this, you turn Berkman around to the right side, and he doesn't have the power that he does from the left side. Hit over 20 home runs from the left side, only 3 from the right side this year.
He's flied to left the one time he was allowed to swing it today, and it's outside to make it 1-1. Every Astros player has reached base. They've had 18 base runners today, and have done it with men in scoring position. 4 for 9 in these spots. Although they've left him loaded a couple of times, it's fouled away by Berkman.
But with that many base runners, a lot of singles, a lot of walks, not a lot of thump, and so it's only a 6-3 score. You would think 18 base runners, this thing might be getting away a little bit. Atlanta just has to do damage control, find a double play ball, get out of this thing, and get back in the dugout, see if they can't score some runs.
And Phil Garner saying, I've been one swing away from blowing it open all day. And another chance. Cut on and missed, and Berkman strikes out swinging. 2 men out. Here comes that man again, the unanimous MVP of the Houston Astros this season, Morgan Ensberg. He's already driven in 4 runs, all on singles. He's gone 3 for 4. Of course, just yesterday, Reggie Sanders of the St. Louis Cardinals had a 6 RBI day. The Astros record for RBIs in a postseason game is 5 by Carlos Beltran against Atlanta last year. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Ensberg's beating him today on some fastballs. You see Foster going to the breaking ball. Morgan Ensberg is a dead pull hitter. He starts with that stance open, closes, but he's pulling pitches on the outer part of the plate. Of his hits this year, 90 went to left field, 13 went to right field. If he's hitting the ball to right field, it's a mistake. He's looking for something he can pull.
Down into the dirt, 36 home runs, 101 runs batted in a season they desperately needed somebody like Ensberg to step up and deliver those kind of numbers, with Bagwell unavailable and Beltran and Kent having left the Houston Astros. He's hit 3 career grand slams. Here's the 2-1 from Foster. Ball 3. And now he'll get something to hack at.
Well, he will, and because he's in a situation where it's 3-1, he's still got to be selective. Don't just get up there and think, oh, just because Foster throws me a strike, I've got to swing. It's still got to be a pitch that he can drive. Don't swing at it just because it's a strike.
He cuts and misses, 3-2.
Well, he came back with a pretty good fastball. With a 2-1 pitch, he bounced his fastball to go to 3-1. That would worry you, but he comes back. And he's been able to run that fastball by some of these hitters, as Ensberg looks like he was trying to hit one way out.
Bases loaded yet again for Houston. Fouled away, and another mighty swing by Ensberg.
Well, the old reliever Randy Myers, great left-handed reliever back in the late 80s, early 90s. When he'd get into a situation with the bases loaded, a 3-2 count, he would usually throw a ball and use the hitter's aggressiveness against him, thinking that what hitter is going to want to walk when the crowd's on their feet and it's a bases loaded situation.
Check swing, and it's low for ball 4. They appealed. No swing, says Marvin Hudson, and the run is in. A bases loaded walk to make it 7-3 Houston. Ensberg with a patient look there at the plate, and he picks up his 5th RBI today.
Well, he was patient. I'm just surprised at the pitch selection in that situation. I mean, Foster, hasn't shown that he's got great control with a lot of his pitches. In that situation, get beat with your best pitch. It's already a 6-3 ball game.
Here's Jason Lane. That one underneath the strata of the backstop. Here comes another run. Biggio in to score. That makes it 8-3. And the runners move up to second and third as well. Here in Division Series Game 1. Orlando Palmeiro will step in a moment, and he'll be the 9th man to hit in this inning, which so far is a 3-run 8th for Houston. They lead at 8-3. And it's Wheeler warming up in the bullpen.
Now, interesting decision now for Phil Garner. Do you leave Pettit in? You started that thought or anything else? Or do you take your chance, go to Wheeler, go to Lidge, and save the inning for the next time for Andy Pettit?
I saved the inning. Pettit's out as far as I'm concerned. I had him. I didn't know if I wanted him to hit, but he's out.
Palmeiro with a swing and a miss. On the day, he has walked, been hit by a pitch, grounded out and flied out. That shot we had of Andy Pettit looked like a man who was finished for the day with the coat on.
Well, and as we've discussed, it's not just about today's game. It's about the series.
Little looper toward left coming in. Jordan, will he get there? No, it drops down for a hit. 2 runs will score. And indeed, the Astros have busted it wide open in Atlanta. They lead it 10-3. And the Braves certainly know how the Red Sox felt yesterday when they were thrashed at the hands of the Chicago White Sox. Here it's Houston 10 and Atlanta 3 with Adam Everett the hitter. He's the man who started this inning. He's batting for the 2nd time here in the 8th. He started it with a base hit. Jim Brower coming out of the bullpen for Bobby Cox now. Braves pitching has been a rumor, allowing 10 earned runs, 8 walks, 3 of those intentional. They've hit 2 batters and delivered a wild pitch. Andy Pettit, on the other hand, has been superb, throwing a 4-hitter for Houston.
Well, it really has been a tale of 2 different outcomes, 2 different pitchers. I mean, for the Braves, there's nothing worse than beating yourself. And to go out there and Tim Hudson to have a game like he did today where he was on the tightrope, he just didn't have his good stuff. Pettit has been phenomenal. Like I said, outside of 2 pitches, he's been great.
And when you play the Astros, who don't have a lot of thump in their lineup, you want to force them to put the ball in play. Throw strikes because it's going to stay in the ballpark. And with your quality defense, you should be able to make the plays. They gave him too many free passes today, and it's come back to haunt them.
The Astros, and yet another walk here as Everett takes ball 4, the 9th free pass delivered by the Braves. The Astros scoring almost as many runs so far today as they did, Tim Kirkshin, all season long in a season series against them.
Also keep in mind, guys, the Braves are not a good comeback team. They're the only team in the National League this year that hasn't won a game in which it trailed by more than 3 runs. And right now they're 7 runs behind.
10-3 lead here. The base is loaded up again. Stop me if you've heard that before with the Astros batting. Here's Ausmus. He had a single and a run scored already in this inning, and he takes a strike.
Well, the Braves were playing with fire all game long. A lot of base runners, and sooner or later, if you keep getting guys on base, sooner or later something's going to happen. Someone's going to make a mistake. You get a wild pitch, you get a hit batter, something's going to happen. You're going to end up giving up runs, and that's what's happened today.
Foul tip, that got a piece of the catcher, Estrada, who's had a lot of injury difficulty this season. Doesn't need any more here. It's 0-2.
And just going back to this inning, the biggest play of this inning is Julio Franco not stretching. If he stretches, you've got an out at first base, a runner on second, and Andy Pettit coming to the plate.
Right.
And so instead of possibly, Andy Pettit gets out, you got 2 outs, a guy on second. Then you do with Biggio, maybe he doesn't pinch hit Bagwell. I mean, that at the time it doesn't seem big, but that thing has come back to bite him.
0-2, waved down and missed for strike 3, and that inning for the Braves mercifully over. But a big frame for the Astros. They score 5 times and do bust it open.